The Walking Dead is most popular game ever. It's developed and published by Telltale Games. The Walking Dead Season 1 is released on 2012 and The Walking Dead Season 2 is released on 2013. After long time, The Walking Dead released Season 3 on 2016. So far, Telltale has confirmed the final season of The Walking Dead will be released on consoles, PC and Mac, iOS and Android. It was confirmed at the end of From the Gallows. It will mark the return of playable protagonist, Clementine, who is on the search for Alvin Jr. It is said to be released in the first half of 2018. Season 2. Clementine will have a missing ring finger on her left hand if she went alone with AJ at the end of No Going Back. Clementine will have a scar on her forehead if she went with Kenny at the end of No Going Back. Clementine will have a scar on her cheek if she stayed at Wellington at the end of No Going Back. Clementine will have AJ inked on her right hand if she stayed with Jane at House Hardware at the end of No Going Back. On Season 3, Clementine will have Gabe's playing cards if he died in From the Gallows. State of Decay 2 is single-player and multiplayer survival adventure game which is developed by Undead Labs and published by Microsoft Studios. And the game engine is Unreal Engine 4. This game will release on 2018 spring. You can play this game on PlayStation 4 or PC. State of Decay 2 is a zombie survival game in which gameplay is experienced from a third-person view. The game is set in an open-world environment and features cooperative gameplay with up to 3 other players.
Yourself and the ones you love. When the protectors can't even save themselves.
Ori and the Will of the Wisps is single-player platform adventure game. The game developers are Moon Studios and published by Microsoft Studios. It will be released in 2018. Players assume control of Ori, a white guardian spirit, and sign the light and eyes of the forest spirit tree. To progress in the game, players are tasked to move between platforms and solve puzzles. The game features a system called Soul Links, which allows players to save at will, and an upgrade system that gives players the ability to strengthen Ori's skills. The game world unfolds to the player in the fashion of a Metroidvania, with new abilities allowing the player to access previously inaccessible areas. Some of the foundational gameplay elements were inspired by the Rayman and Metroid franchises. The game story is centered on a new adventure to discover the world beyond the Forest of Nibel, uncover the truths of the Lost Ones, and unearth Ori's true destiny.
God protect us. You've got a leech.
Vampyr is single-player action role-playing video game which is developed by Dontnod Entertainment and published by Focus Home Interactive. It will release on 2018 sometime on PlayStation 4, Xbox One and PC. The player controls the game's protagonist Jonathan Reed, a doctor who was made into a vampire and whose thirst for blood compels him to kill innocent people. To do this successfully, he must gather information about his targets, study and change their habits, collect clues and maintain certain relationships by communicating with the inhabitants of London. Prowl the disease-ridden streets in Vampyr, a darkly atmospheric action RPG. In a completely disorganized and ghostly city, those who are either fools desperate or unlucky enough to walk the streets lay prey to Britain's most elusive predators, the vampires. Emerging from the chaos, a tormented figure awakes. As the player, it is you who determines how to harness your new powers by specializing in deadly versatile RPG skill trees that change the way you play. As a doctor recently turned into a vampire, you try to understand your new affliction. Your quest of intuition, discoveries and struggles will be filled with death and drama, while your attempt to stem the irrepressible thirst that constantly drives you to take human lives. As you cling to what remains of your humanity, your decisions will ultimately shape the fate of your hero while searching for answers in the coughing, foggy aftermath of the Spanish flu.
This hospital is their only hope.
Of course, you're right. But we cannot afford a public scandal. It would ruin us. We must restore order, and quickly.
You mentioned a dead patient. Who is he?
She, Jonathan. She was Miss Harriet Jones. I found her room like a slaughterhouse. Blood everywhere. The duty nurse is taking care of
A Way Out is two-player action-adventure game. This is the another part of Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons. This game is developers are Hazelight Studios, publishers A.R.E.A. Originals, and the game engine is Unreal Engine 4. A Way Out will release on 2018 sometime. It will release on PlayStation 4, Xbox One and PC. It is specifically designed for split-screen cooperative multiplayer. You can also play it on local and online. In the game, players control Leo and Vincent, two convicted prisoners who must break out of prison and stay on the run from authorities. For instance, during a prison escape scene, one player needs to distract the guard while another player needs to find a tool to aid their escape.
It's pitch black. We need a light.
Screw it. I'll go first. Oh, crap!
You okay?
Extinction is action-adventure game. This game will release 2018 March 31st on PlayStation 4, Xbox One and PC. Extinction game developer is Iron Galaxy and publisher by Maximum Games. From time immemorial, the world has been at war. For generations, humans have fought one another for land and riches, while our true enemies have lurked in the distance, throngs of raw Venus monsters standing 150 feet tall that aim to destroy our kind. Only those trained in the ways of the ancient order stand a chance at defeating these monstrosities known colloquially as ogres. You are one of the world's last defenders, a warrior named Abel, equipped with the skill, speed, and strength to oppose the endless wave of Ravani and prevent a fate worse than death, extinction. Inspirate real-time combat, protect the human population across an abundant story campaign, rescuing as many civilians as possible and taking down brutal opponents. Complete numerous side missions with various objectives, earning upgrades to aid you in your campaign. Travel horizontally and vertically, perform wall runs, and use your whip as a vault to perform devastating air assaults. Master dynamic combat maneuvers to effectively traverse the giant beasts and expose their weak points, progressing along different skill trees to develop a path best suited to your playstyle. Every battlefield is different from the last, ensuring a unique combat situation each time you play. The Darksider is an action-adventure game which developers are Gunfire Games and publishers are THQ Nordic. The game series is Darksider and the game engine is Unreal Engine 4. It will release in 2018 on PlayStation 4, PC and Xbox One. In gameplay, players take control of Fury, one of the four horsemen of the apocalypse, from a third-person perspective. Fury, a mage who is described as the most unpredictable and enigmatic of the four horsemen, relies on whips and magic in combat.
Watch ye back out there, horseman.
USA. Welcome to the city that never sleeps.
The Crew 2 is single-player and multiplayer racing video game. It's developed by Ivory Tower and publishers are Ubisoft. The Crew 2 game release on 2018 March 16th. Its release on PC, Xbox One and PlayStation 4. In the game, players assume control of a relatively unknown racer who is trying to work his way to become successful in multiple disciplines. It features a persistent open-world environment for racing and free roaming across a scaled-down recreation of the contiguous United States. In addition to cars, players can also control other kinds of vehicles, including planes, motorcycles and boats. Each vehicle has their own control physics, meaning that gameplay is different when players are controlling different types of vehicles. Players can switch between controlling air, land, and sea vehicles instantly. The game features 4 different hub worlds with each having their own theme and playstyle. These themes include off-road, street racing, pro racing and freestyle. Vehicle customization will also be featured in the game. Similar to the first game, it will place a huge emphasis on multiplayer. It also features a cooperative multiplayer mode which allows players to join different rally raid events together. This mode can also be played solo with artificial intelligence.
Speaking of which, this race is about to get a little spiced up. How would you like to take?
Far Cry 5 is first-person shooting and action-adventure game. This game developed by Ubisoft Montreal and publishers by Ubisoft. Far Cry 5 will release on 2018, February 27th on PlayStation 4, Xbox One and PC. Unlike previous titles in the series where players take on the role of a set character, the game features a new character creator which players can use to customize their character's appearances, gender and skin tone. Players have a variety of ranged and explosive weapons to fight against enemies, while the game will place a renewed emphasis on close quarters combat compared to previous Far Cry titles by introducing a wider range of melee weapons. The game will also feature a recruitment system in which players can recruit locals in the county to fight alongside them, similar to the buddy system used in Far Cry 2. In this Guns for Hire system, players need to convince other locals to join their cause, and every companion fighter has their own unique skills and personalities. Players can also tame wild animals through the Fang for Hire system previously introduced in Far Cry Primal. The tamed wildlife will assist the player in combat and follow the player's orders. Different wildlife will have different combat patterns. A fishing mechanic will also be introduced. The campaign can be played individually or with a partner through the game's cooperative multiplayer mode. The game will also feature a map editor whose features have been expanded from previous titles.
Hi, I'm John Warner, game director for
Anthem is online multiplayer action role-playing game. This game developers are BioWare and publishers are Electronic Arts. This game maker is Frostbite 3. All release in 2018, last on PC, Xbox One and PlayStation 4. Anthem is set in an open-world environment in which the player takes the role of a freelancer donning fully customizable exosuits called javelins. These suits can be customized to have various unique weapons and superhuman abilities. Two classes of javelins were shown during Anthem's presentation at Microsoft's E3 2017 conference. One was the Ranger, which is an all-around and balanced javelin, and the Colossus, which is a larger and more heavily armored javelin made to fill in more of a tanking role. The game features both single-player and cooperative multiplayer elements in a shared world that can have up to 4 squad members per team. Teams can fight savage beasts and ruthless marauders while exploring lost ruins and expe. Rinsing massive, world-altering terrain occurrences, such as Shaper storms. Drew Karpyshyn, known among other things for his work on the Mass Effect series of games, is one of the writers of the game.
In the world of Anthem, you and your friends are freelancers.